Hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to give you a solution to that age-old problem of spending more time in front of your computer than actually shooting. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. I have more than 100 videos in the channel pertaining just about that. Lighting, tutorials, especially with the use of one light. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, if you want to see some of my images, you could also find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. So now let's solve that age-old problem of how to spend less time in front of the computer rather than actually shooting. Well, of course, number one is that you have to get everything right in camera. But post-production is an essential process in creating that vision that you wanted to create the moment you click that shutter. I personally shoot in RAW. Therefore, by shooting in RAW, I have to actually edit the images because RAW files aren't really photographs yet. In other words, I have to change the contrast, the saturation of the colors. I basically have to tweak the colors in post-production. Now, I actually had this one, this Loop Deck Plus, and it helped me a lot when I would be doing that. In other words, I have all the colors here, all the knobs here for me to be able to adjust my exposure, my contrast, my shadows, my highlights, my blacks, and my whites. And 7 months ago, I started using this one. This is the Tourbox. And to be very honest with you guys, when I started using this and I had this in my table, I was like, why will I use this small thing when I'm so happy using this one? In other words, I could use both hands here. I could do so many things here with so much efficiency. But then I started using this. And after about a week or two, I realized how smart this really small device is. In other words, I got so overwhelmed with this one, knowing that there were so many buttons that I can actually specify for whatever specific need that I would want to use. Then I realized that I was actually just using my temperature, my highlight, my shadows, my exposure, my brightness and vignette, and occasionally this knob to be able to straighten my horizon. Now, having that in mind, I was like, okay, is it possible for me to actually assign those keys to something this small so that this one doesn't really take up too much space, or I can free up a lot of space in my desk because this one is rather huge. So when I was able to migrate everything to this Tourbox, I actually ended up using this one even more and not use this one because this one was so innovative. It was so user-friendly after figuring out how to use it that this one became obsolete. And that's the reason why I actually am putting this in the chopping block and selling it. And I actually decided to get even one more. So now I have two Tourbox. These are the Tourbox Neo consoles. And I have one for here in that computer in the back. And I needed another one when I would travel. So I want one in my laptop. Okay, so this one will be, I'll do a short unboxing basically of what's inside the box of this Tourbox Neo, okay? All right, okay. I got this from a local store called Echo Photo. So for you guys who are based in the Philippines, you could actually just message Echo Photo. It's available there. And it's priced at about 9,350 in Philippine pesos, okay? There. All right. So let's see. I've never really did a formal unboxing with this one because, to be honest, I was like, okay, it's another new thing, but my loop deck is really working properly. But then, you know what? I gotta share the experience with you guys because it is a really wonderful product. Okay. See, I love how personalized Echo Photo is. Thank you. We hope this package brightens your day. Definitely it did. Okay, so here's the receipt. It's 9,350 in Philippine pesos. Okay, all right, so let's open this one up. All right, the Tourbox Neo. So, what comes in the box? It's called the Ultimate Controller for Creators. I'll explain later how I use this one and how innovative this tiny little box is. So basically what's inside the box is your quick start guide, your safety instructions, and of course, the console itself, the Tourbox Neo. So it should be exactly the same as what I have here. As you can see, this one is really overused already. You can see that the rubber in itself is already a different color, but it's normal. It just goes to show that you're really using it. And it's connected to your computer via USB-C. Now, if your computer doesn't have USB-C yet, it also comes with a USB-C to USB Type A connector. Okay? All right, so let me set up my computer now so that I can show you how I actually use this Tourbox Neo. So the heart and soul of this Tourbox Neo is basically this one, the Tourbox console. So you have to download this one, and it is basically where you set everything. As you can see here, I have for Lightroom, Premiere, Final Cut, Photoshop, and Capture One. But basically, this entire thing or this device can work in any other application. All you have to do is set specific commands here. Let's say, for example, here in my knob, I set it for Photoshop in my Mac to decrease brush size and increase brush size because that's the one I would normally use. This area here, I set it for it to actually make it bigger or smaller, meaning zoom in and zoom out. This one is for opacity. This here is Alt, this one is Undo, this one is the space bar, and this one is the toggle full screen. The button here, Y, is for my history brush tool. This is my stamp tool. This is my healing tool, and this is my brush tool. Okay, so as you can actually set as many combinations as you want. You could even press this one together with this, so you could set different all the other options and shortcut keys that you want. You could set it here. So now that I've set, let's say for example, my shortcut keys for Photoshop, I'll show you how I use it and why it makes things very efficient. Look, if I scroll this, it zooms in. If I press my space bar, I can use my mouse now to bring it around, scroll in, and then zoom to whatever specific area I want. If I press my brush tool, all I have to do is turn this around and it's gonna make it smaller or bigger. Now, if I want to change the opacity of my brush, you could see it here. The opacity of my brush is changing. And then here again, my brush size. If I press this one, this is my healing brush, this is my patch tool, and this is my clone stamp tool. If I press this one, it shifts from foreground to background color. If I press this one now, it's gonna do my shortcut key to skin smoothening. This one will give me, oh sorry, this one is my sharpening. So when I press it, look what's gonna happen. It's running an action. There's my sharpening layer. So I'll delete that. And then if I want to press this one, this is basically my skin smoothening. There we go. And then here, this button is the one that toggles from full screen. So look at this one. The moment I turn on Capture One, you'll see an indicator here immediately that it is Tourbox current preset Capture One. In other words, it will now shift to my preset of Capture One. There. So I have specific things that I've also set here in this button that works with Capture One. Okay, so I can have it for Final Cut. If I open my Final Cut, there's a current preset for Final Cut. So I have shortcut keys here also for Final Cut. And it just goes on and on and on and on, depending on what application you want to use it for. You could use it for Illustrator, you could use it for InDesign, you could use it for Photoshop. Bridge doesn't work, Lightroom works. Basically, most of your software that you need for photo editing, all your shortcut keys can be set for this Tourbox for that specific application. And by doing this, I made my editing workflow so efficient and so fast that I spend very, very little time in front of my computer editing my images. So long as when you are shooting, you are very consistent. In other words, you don't really have to adjust too much, or you don't really have to adjust too much because you got the shot right in camera. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Okay? Now also follow me on Instagram if you can. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay? See you in the next video.